We're entering the most dangerous phase of the Trump era. Normalization.
Oh, democracy. Wasn't it fun while it lasted? I remember it. I remember being able to have a government where it did what the people wanted and where it respected its own citizens and the military wasn't turned on us directly. It was cool, but it's a different time now, and it's fine. It's like, do we really need to follow the Constitution? Do we really need to have a president who respects elections and who respects laws and who respects the separation of state powers and the federal power, and that doesn't use the National Guard and military in general to attack other people, and doesn't make speeches to all the generals saying that we have to get rid of the enemy from within, and I wish they wore uniforms so we could take them out.
We're under invasion from within. No different than a foreign enemy, but more difficult in many ways because they don't wear uniforms. At least when they're wearing a uniform, you can take them out. These people don't have uniforms. But we are under invasion from within. We're stopping it very quickly.
Or it speaks to a bunch of troops and says we have to get rid of the gnats, that is the Democrats. Get rid of them.
But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it.
Toning down the rhetoric, it's really nice the way he does it. I'm kidding, he doesn't. But it's okay, it's fine. Keeps us on our toes to be kind of separated that way. You know, we just see things differently, and we have to respect both sides of it. Like, when there's comedians saying things that the president doesn't like, they should have to stop saying that stuff, or they have their shows yanked under mafia-style pressure. That's fine. It just makes it more challenging and interesting to write comedy that way. When cities don't do what the president wants or protest his policies peacefully and stand up against him, they're going to get tear-gassed in the face, and they're going to get troops aggressively shoving people to the ground and even if there's no due cause for it whatsoever, and breaking their windows open. And they're going to be masked because, you know, they might be doxxed online. So we got to mask all of our troops now and have sort of a secret police force, even though there's been plenty of people speaking truth to power and or doing law enforcement and or being judges or politicians who are all having their faces publicly shown all the time. But the people that are physically confronting and taking people's rights away shouldn't have their faces shown, because that's the one exception, you know, where they can really intimidate the populace. I think that makes a lot of sense. And, you know, we see things differently. You know, I've got Republican friends who DM me videos of Portland, and I say, look, Portland is not the war zone that Trump says it is, and it's not on fire, and there's no rioting going on there like Trump claims, and it's not a war zone in any way. And they send me videos of all the homeless people or drug addicts that are kind of crazily wandering the streets, and there's like dirty stairwells under malls, and there's parks that have a lot of trash in them from homeless people. So according to them and their rationale, that's why Trump has to send the troops in, because, you know, the troops are going there to fix the homeless problem and provide social welfare services and just, you know, in general, caring for them and providing social services that'll help make their lives better, really tackle that problem. Because that's got to be the solution, right? Because they're sending me videos of homeless people who are in need of support and help. While, yes, these cities might not be doing a great job of handling that issue, you'd think maybe the problem would be supporting programs that could handle it better, supporting funding that could handle it better, instead of gutting those programs and gutting government workers that could do things to maybe solve that. And it wouldn't be sending troops to tackle innocent citizens who just want to be left alone, and not have their neighborhoods terrorized and not have immigrant communities terrorized. I'm forgetting the moment how the troops coming and terrorizing people helps in any way the homeless problem. I'm sure there's some connection, and it's just a difference of opinion again. So I think it's great. You know, I think the way stuff's working out, it's fine. I think whatever the president does is good. I think he should be, you know, also like firing people who work for the Attorney General's office who won't do political prosecutions for him and go directly after people who've gone after him for actual laws he's broken. Kidding, may have broken, probably didn't break. He never has broken a law. Great golfer, too, in very great physical shape, I'd like to say as well. The military can't be overweight anymore. I think that's important. And can't have a beard either. But the head of the military, you know, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, can be overweight because he's at the top. So there's a lot of people under him that could hold him up, you You're gonna need a lot of them, but he can do it. And so I think it's okay. Give up your rights. You still have Instagram and TikTok. TikTok's been saved. That's great. Stock market's still doing well. So, whatever, if like crazy tariff policies are making the cost of food rise for a lot of people, and the stuff people need, I don't think that matters as much as making sure the stock market's good and that the president gets the revenge he wants. So, I think it's great. And if you disagree with me, I think you should keep that to yourself, probably, because we don't question our dear leader at all, and we don't want to stand in the way of what he wants to do, regardless of whether it is in the best interest of the whole country or whether it brings us together at all. If it's devised clearly to separate us because, the president directly says the words like the problem is only the radical left and not at all the radical right, even when Fox News says to him, but there's radicals on both sides that are problems and that, call for violence and commit violence. And he says, I don't care, to be honest with you, about when it's on the right, it's because they're responding to crime they don't like and situations they don't like. It's just the left. And they say, well, are you going to bring the country together now? And he says, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I don't give a damn about bringing the country together.
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming in. We don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
He's just being funny, and he's posting racist memes also. All of this just very recently, all the stuff I'm talking about happening like right now. Racist memes of even further demeaning the Latino community and making them feel less than. And they're standing up for what matters, though, like making sure that Bad Bunny people are outraged about him performing in the Super Bowl halftime show, and like Tommy Lahren interviewing Crystal Ball, and Crystal Ball saying, I don't see what the big problem is. He's just seems like a good American entertainer. And she goes, he's not American though. And she goes, Puerto Rico's part of America, honey. To which she pretends like she knew that and tries to gloss over it. But from what I heard the president also said he spoke to the president of Puerto Rico recently. And what's funny is he's the president of Puerto Rico, but he clearly doesn't even know that or care about the people there at all. But you can't take care of all states and territories of the U.S. when you're focused on only bringing troops specifically 100% into Democratic cities where they don't want it, and the governors and the mayors are having to conspire together about how to keep themselves safe from the president of the United States and from the U.S. government. I think it's good. It shows teamwork. They're working on their team building skills, and even though there's Republican states with worse crime where Trump is not sending them, and even when he does send troops in, like to D.C., they don't go to the areas with the worst crime either, just the areas that like Trump wants fixed that maybe he drives by. I think it's all going good, and I wish us luck. I think it's really good that we're at war with ourselves. It'll make us tough, University of Hard Knocks, and I'm just very proud to be living under this president and really hopeful that he doesn't understand sarcasm. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram for lots more content, government approved content, of course. Thank you so much for your time, and may God bless America.